All right, welcome to Klemic Performance Method Video Newsletter. I'm Coach David Klemic. This is Josh Holsapple, head coach at Klemic Performance Method, and we're going to go through our newsletter. This week, we have a couple announcements to make that are really important. First, summer reservations. We're like about halfway through them right now. I've been taking them in all day, all morning. You have to call in, because if you call in late in the middle of June, you don't have a spot, you're going to be upset with me probably because I didn't warn you, but I did many times. So get in there as soon as you can and give me a call, 609-742-6190. Everybody has my number that gets this newsletter. So very important, most importantly. Second, NBC will be here tomorrow. They're doing a story on Destin Lasco in this facility, so we've been doing our housekeeping, cleaning up, getting ready. And then that one's huge because Destin he's an Olympic hopeful, but he's pretty much a shoo-in at this point. He's number 2 in the world right now, only behind the world record holder, Ryan Murphy. So Destin, this will be fun because I get to talk about somebody who is probably the most coachable human being, maybe one of the most famous athletes in the swimming world. Easily, and just one of the greatest kids ever. You've had some experience with him. He's an amazing soul. And then we'll go right after this. We're going to go into Athlete of the Week. So our Who Dat Athlete of the Week, McKenna Ponteri, one of our own. She coaches with us too, but McKenna's a long jumper at Stockton and came out of really nowhere. Was pretty down on her scores this year, going through a new coaching change and everything, going to college. And I've been there where I wasn't jumping very well, and then you kind of come into your own during championship season, and she came up about 1.5 feet of what she's been jumping this year and jumped mid-17s and won NJAX in the long jump. So we're super proud of her. Especially because in high school she was a basketball player, and we converted her to track because we just saw undeniable numbers during her tests, and those things are what we call KPIs, key performance indicators, and if they're there, it shows predisposition for where you could be good at. And we said long jump. There you go. Did you see any of those tests?
Yeah, no doubt. I think her broad jump is also was a really big KPI, even though she's shorter. Her broad jump, I think, is the best that we've tested for girls. It's 8-something feet, I want to say. It's 8.1, maybe 8.2. But yeah, 29.9 on the vert. That puts her top 3 that we've ever tested. 10-yard dash is okay, but she hit 20-plus miles an hour in max velocity as well. All of her KPIs are pretty much the top of the top for every girl that we've had in the facility.
And when you put all of them together, and then she has a great RSI score too, which made her quick off the ground. And you need that. You need to be quick off the ground to elevate off of a long jump when you're trying to convert speed, linear speed to vertical, and to create that horizontal projection. You need that, and she had it all. So between all those scores, we knew she was going to be good if they increased. So she went, when we had her, from about 15.5 in the long jump to 17.11.
Wow.
So 17.11, and she was one of the best in the state at that point. But anyway, McKenna, we're super proud of you. Anyway, for all the hard work that you put in, we watched her do this, obsess over her craft, and then just to literally go from average to absolute savage is the best way to put it. So, McKenna, we're super proud of you. You are our Who Dat Athlete. Inside the Lines. This is where we bring Coach Holsapple, who wrote the programming for this week. We're going to talk about it a little bit. And we're going to talk about some max velocity increases I have right in front of me, so I'll point them out. But let's go over Inside the Lines.
Well, I think, this is, we said it all last week. It was kind of funny. But we, if you watch our Instagram or you pay attention to us on social media, or you're an athlete that's training here, sometimes we pick exercises that aren't very conventional, like the broad jump for speed. So when we do something like that, like broad jump for speed, in our mind is we're going to work fast amortization, so fast ground contact time. It's a high CNS output exercise, so you have to constantly be turning and using your brain and really focusing hard. It's a very high output. Works a lot of physical qualities, and a lot of the kids were like, why are we doing what the heck, why are we doing this? I've never seen anything like this. Is ridiculous. vertical leap PRs left and right on the 5 jump, broad jump, and then we cycle that out. And now this week we're going into max miles an hour in the facility. We did a little bit last week, and we've just had PR after PR after PR after PR. And you have the numbers out in front of you, and to highlight a couple amazing PRs.
I'll give you a crazy one. Now remember, we're in the facility, so we don't hit maximum velocity here. The big one, the marquee score was Logan Perez, who went from 18.92, which is fast. It would be fast anyway, to a 21.76, so a 2.8 increase miles per hour increase from
inside the facility.
The facility, from 20 yards to 25 yards. So from that point to that point, that's what he's reaching right there. We had a whole bunch of other ones. I noted Rocco DiBiaso. He was in the 17 mile per hour range, high 17s, low 18s, and then he went up to 20.87. Amir Dunbar, same thing, 17s to 20.87. We're seeing like Andrew Gilman, over 20 miles per hour. He's in the 16s, high 17s. Low 17s, high 16s. He's 20.05 consistently. Just crazy score outputs for and there's just dozens other. Everyone's up about 1.5 miles to 2 miles per hour right now at that point. So we know when we get him to max velo outside, it would go even higher. We would see Logan probably touching somewhere in the 23, 24 mile per hour range. So that's been really cool. And to see people change from we change their paradigm of thought once they start to see an increase in the marquee numbers, like a 10-yard dash, 20-yard dash. Once they see those things change, they're going, okay, so everything that we just did and we were laughing at is now not funny anymore. Now we're going to compete for it. So as soon as we did the new one, was the full speed back pedal, everyone was like gunning for it because they know it's going to work. Right away. And we just rotate you can explain it. Why don't you explain the rotation of the stimulus?
There's a couple different schools of thought regarding, changing and using different stimuluses, but relatively speaking, a 3 or 4 week time frame is about all that you want to use a stimulus, and that's about all that you're going to get out of it. So, for instance, every acceleration day for the past couple months, we've been using the same stimulus. For every initial force generation day, we've been using the same marquee score stimulus. So, for instance, 10-yard dash is for a month, and the next month is full speed back pedals, and the next month is full speed broad jumps, and the next one is broad jumps for distance, and then the next one on an acceleration day would be whatever it is next, which is the 20 to 25 back end of your 40-yard dash. But you always want to rotate those, and what that does is it allows your brain and transmission pathways to not get burnt out, and it also avoids any overuse injuries. So we like to rotate them, and we pick ones that honestly, we discuss for maybe 5 minutes. We don't overcomplicate it because these everybody that trains with us, they're kids. So any stimulus that you really do is going to work pretty well. So we don't really overcomplicate it at all because we keep the main thing. If you want to run fast and become a better accelerator, just do variations of acceleration. If you want to jump higher, just rotate variations of max effort vertical leap. If you want to get better at recycling energy, then we'll rotate things that are more reactive strength based, and we just rotate those. And we use the same basic ones, to be honest with you. But I would say that we use the same exercises yearly, pretty much throughout our whole year, because that's what's worked. It's we don't have to deviate from it. And I used to talk to Coach Dave about this all the time about why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Well, it's we already know what works. There's no real point in changing the exercises or the philosophy because it's working. We're getting the best scores we've ever had right now.
Yeah. And the one thing I was talking to Cruz Lewis about this. He's back. I'm so excited he's back. He's in the studio with us right now. But I was telling him, why do I believe so much in this Chip Smith principles? Because if you date back all of the people that even Al Vermeil, I talked to Coach Vermeil the other day, and Al and he mentioned that he got all his principles from Yuri Verkhoshansky and where it all came from. And if you think about all those people pointing back to where a grant came from, where a government grant came to test all of these athletes, it came from Russia. The United States do not get government grants to do
state-sponsored training. There's no state-sponsored training.
Only in Russia did they do that. Yeah. So they gave him all this money, and then that's why everyone went over there to go check it out, because it's not just a little bit. You need millions and millions of dollars and time and paying tons of people and facilities. They don't want to do it. Yeah. So they all went over there and learned from Yuri, and even so everyone quotes that and those studies that were done back then, and now they've been modified and everything, but no one put themselves through the the training and the pain. Because a lot of people got hurt doing these studies. A lot of people got hurt. I think some people died doing this, like really jumping off of things.
30, 40-foot highs,
being paralyzed and everything so that we could be where we're at today and using those studies. So I said, wherever the government grant came from, that's where all the money it could be, because someone else just have to do it as a labor of love. So we're doing it as we go along. We're using the scores that make us successful, that have made us successful, and trying to get better at it. But we don't deviate too much from those things, like you said, because they work.
And I want to point out one thing in particular. I'm hoping that a lot of people are still listening. Is like, we know what colleges want to see out of athletes. Like, you need to be able to accelerate, you need to be explosive, and you need to be able to change direction. And like, those are things that we train. But again, we only have kids for 3 hours a week, and 90% of our kids are 3 days a week. A couple do 4 days a week. So at the most, we see kids 4 hours a week. And in those 4 hours a week, we have to do what it takes to get them to actually see noticeable change and noticeable results in a short period of time, too. We don't have kids all year round. We only have them for 12 weeks. So in those 12 weeks, we have to do things that are going to actually carry over and change them as an athlete. And I think that that's very important, especially when you're thinking about what you should do for your son or daughter. It's like, everybody's schedule nowadays is so tight and tied up, and you have to do so many other things. And it's like, well, what can I do? What is the most bang for my buck, for my time? What is my best ROI, return on investment? What am I going to do? And right now we're putting out the absolute best scores we've ever had in kids. And all we ask out of kids is just to show up consistently. That's it. If you show up consistently and you ask a couple questions and you just take that hour to be present, it's a pretty foolproof system.
And I'm hearing more and more information coming from coaches, and these are college coaches, saying that they used to say, "Oh, well, diversity in sports is really good." Not this much diversity. I'm hearing people are playing 3 and 4 sports during a season.
Yeah.
It's too much. One and go train or whatever. So they were. I was listening to this coach. I have to pull this up, but he was saying, like, with 7-on-7, and I'm not the one to do, I'm not saying it's bad for you, but the 7-on-7, if you're not even dominating your local market, don't go travel the world and try to check yourself against Californians and Floridians and Texans, because you're going to find out if you didn't dominate your local market and your own team, why are you traveling all over the world? This goes for every baseball, soccer, everything. You're traveling the world to find you're not even dominating your local sports. It doesn't make any sense. So make yourself as strong as you can, as fast as you can, perfect your craft as much as you can. And this is kind of sounds selfish, but I promise you that if this was me doing it all over again, I'm spending as much time as I can training my body to do and move it and as far away as my center mass is now, as quickly as I can, jumping as high as I can, because I know what that will do in my sport. And we train a lot of football players too. We train a lot of football players, and they all agree. It takes them some time. They all come back and end up agreeing that they should have just been trying to just get even that there's points when they were, and everyone's testing now, because if you have an objective test, just like the SATs, you want to see SATs, you want to see standardized testing, they're going to test you to see where you are along other athletes that were maybe from another market than you. They don't know. Let's put them together and let them run.
Let them run.
And we hear more and more people saying, you run this time, I'll throw you an offer. Run this time, I'll throw you an offer. It's like throw an outrageous time out there or whatever. But if you did it,
if
you're not saying, if you score 3 touchdowns in your next 7-on-7 game, I'll offer you. If you don't have 3 more, home runs in the next whatever travel game, then I'll offer you. They're saying, let me see you run. Let me see you run. Show me something that you're different than all these other guys.
Yeah, it all boils down to that.
Yeah.
So it's inside the lines. Like, and I encourage all you guys to follow us on Instagram and to check us out, because we're posting every day new records, new times, new PRs. It's been a really good spring so far. Really, really good spring.
We went from acceleration April to more acceleration May, and who knows what June's going to be.
Just acceleration June. Getting kids ready for camps.
All right, so that's our Inside the Lines for the video newsletter, and we're going to sign off right after this commercial from Tracer.
During the play testing, has its limits. And I think the Tracer, and gets me excited, is that if we can hook them up to a Tracer, we can have true objective data even better than what we're doing now. And that's why the return to play testing, it's still evolving, it's progressing, it needs to continue to evolve because we're not perfect at it. But something like the Tracer, like that's kind of game-changing.
Welcome back, Cruz Lewis, to KPM. We're happy to have you back. He's going to be going to Stockton this year.
Running some track too. Yeah.
Congratulations, McKenna. Congrats everybody for hitting your PRs, and these numbers are just making us so excited. We'll set up the clip for NBC. We'll take videos of the videos of when NBC's here. But we're excited and really support Destin and kind of got to follow him, what he's doing.
Yeah, he's amazing,
and he's the most versatile swimmer there is too. Yeah. Forget just the intermediate that he does. He has scored the most points in the NCAA at NCAA championships last year.
It's amazing.
Has NCAA records, has national records in the 200 intermediate, but on the short course because he can jump really high. Because he uses more walls, so he jumps better than Ryan Murphy. That's why he's the national record holder, and Murphy's not.
Yeah.
So anyway, from KPM. We'll see you next time.